Welcome back, guys. This is Building a Million One Day at a Time. So lately, people have been really scared with what's going on in the stock market, and it can be scary. Like, realistically, you don't know if your money's gonna go to zero, you don't know if your money's gonna go to the moon. So everybody's kind of been scared and pulling all their money out in cash. Now, I've had students and other people reach out to me and say, hey, what do we do with our cash if we pull it out of the stock market, if we pull it out of real estate, if we pull it out of whatever? And so I thought, why don't I just make a quick video on where to put your cash so that it's still making money, but not just sitting there and it's not in something that's risky. So I want to start off with the basic, go stick it in the bank. Most people, if they bank with an institutional bank, they can go put their money in their checking or their savings account, and their savings is going to earn some interest. But if you look at here, you've got Wells Fargo, which is one of the basic, institutional banks, Chase Bank, JP Morgan, stuff like that. Wells Fargo is giving you 0.01% on your money. That's basically nothing. If inflation rate right now is over 7% and you're getting 0.01 on your money, that investment is losing 7%. That's what that means. So Wells Fargo or an institutional bank, probably not the best place to set your money if you want it to still grow a little bit. Now you have other options. You have credit unions. Our local credit union here is offering anywhere from 0.2 to 0.75, depending on how long that you're willing to leave your money with them. So you have 0.2% of interest if you leave it in for 6 months. If you leave it in all the way up to 5 years or 60 months, they're willing to give you 0.75 on your money. Now, if you put your money into one of these money market accounts or a CD, you will have to leave it in there for that term, or you're going to end up losing some percentage of it, if not all of it, of the gain. You can pull that money out if you need to use it for something else, but they will have some sort of penalty to pull it out early. If you have it in 6 months and you pull it out at 4, there'll be a penalty. If you have it in for 60 months and you pull it out at 36 months, there'll be a penalty. So just be aware of that. Next, you have high yield savings accounts. Now, a lot of companies or a lot of banks will have a high yield savings tied in with a credit card. I had one with Citibank, which for a while was great. I think I was getting 1% interest at that point in time. Now, what we're looking at is high yield savings are anywhere from 0.5 to 0.65. Now, what's nice about a high yield savings account is you can pull that money out at any time. So unlike with the credit union CDs, you don't have to leave it in there for a certain amount of term. You can pull this out at any time and it's liquid and you can use it for any other investments, but at least while it's sitting there, it is making you anywhere from that 0.5% to 0.65. Next, I would say is government bonds. Government bonds right now, depending on the term, if you got a 2-year term, you're looking at about 0.88%. Now with a 2-year, again, you are supposed to leave it in for a certain amount of time. If you pull it out, you can lose your back 3 months interest if you pull it out early. And then if you wanted to get into a 30-year bond, you can get up to 1.88, okay? So those are your safer places to put your money. They're institutional banks, credit unions, high yield savings are all backed by the FDIC up to $250,000. So if you put your money in there, it's guaranteed by the FDIC. That's backed by the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, the FDIC, and they back that up to $250,000 per account at any bank. And so those are secure and you don't have to worry so much about them. I mean, yeah, there is still risk that the economy can go to zero, all banks go out of business and you lose your money. If that's the case, we've probably got a lot more to worry about than the money in the bank. Now, what else you have, there's some crypto exchanges that, and I've been using them for about a year now, that pay you high percentage on your money in stable coins. Now, BlockFi is the one I've chose to use. There's other ones out there like Voyager, but BlockFi is backed not by the FDIC. So it's a little higher risk. It is backed by the New York Financial District, which gives it some validity and some safety, but that's one entity and it's a state. It's not the government. It's not the federal government. So like the FDIC is. So I'll show you these, and you can make that decision for yourself if you want it to be at a higher risk. But BlockFi is paying you up to 8.75% interest on your money that you put into stablecoins. So that's GUSD, which is Gemini United States dollar, or USDC, which is the United States dollar coin. Those are paying at 20,000 or less in the account. It'll pay at 8.75. 20,000 and up, it's paying at 7.75. So quite a bit bigger gap between what institutional banks are paying and what people are paying with crypto. Now let me explain why BlockFi is willing to do that. So if I put my money in there, they're going to take that just like any other bank would, and they're going to loan it out to somebody else for more money. Well, with the crypto world, they're willing to pay a little bit more, like 10 or 12% interest on their crypto money short term to get their business done. So it's the same thing with the bank. You put your money in the bank, and then after that, they take it and they go loan it out to somebody for a mortgage or an auto loan or something else. And so that person's paying, 4% interest on that auto loan, and then in the return, the bank's going to pay you interest. Well, that's the same thing with BlockFi. They're just loaning out the cryptocurrency to other retail or institutional investors, and those people are paying a higher interest, so they're willing to cut you a higher interest to get you to put your money there and incentivize you to do that. So overall, if you are interested in putting your cash in an investment that's liquid that you can pull out, these are some of the options I've looked at. Again, I use BlockFi. It's not my main source of putting cash, but it is a place that I put cash to earn that higher interest. I still like to be diversified, so I still have my emergency fund that I try to keep in cash just in case something happens that I need the money right now. I have money in the bank. It's easier to pay bills with the cash in the bank, and I just leave it in that savings at that 0.01 until I need it. I have money in BlockFi. I have money in my credit union. I used to have a high yield savings account. I decided to go away from that and just use BlockFi because it didn't make sense to keep money in a high yield savings at 0.5 when I can have it in BlockFi at 0.65 or at 8.75. As well as I try to keep money in a little bit in silver and some precious metals just in case. You never know. I just hedging a little bit. So with that being diversified, it's important to be diversified because if you have all your money in one place and that ends up being a downturn or you lose it all, that's devastating. If you're diversified in multiple different asset classes, then if one sector goes down, hopefully the other one's doing well. And that's the same thing with like stocks being in the S&P 500. S&P 500 last year did extremely well. Year over year, they generally do 8 to 12%. That's another good place to put your money. Where the stocks are going down and you're pulling out of the stock market, however, looking at these other asset classes is a good place to put your money until you're ready to get back into something else, like the stock market or real estate or wherever you want to. So if you're holding on to that cash and you have and you want a place to put it, I'd look into these. Make sure that if you're going for one of these higher yields like BlockFi or Voyager, that you're reading the terms and conditions and you understand the risks involved before you put all your money in there. So I would suggest I'm looking at these. Again, I left all my money in the S&P 500. I haven't pulled any money out of the stock market. I don't plan on doing that. That's one of my asset classes that helps me diversify, and I want to stay diversified. So I didn't pull any money out of the stock market. If you watch people like Meet Kevin who pulled $20 million out of the stock market, that's totally fine. That's his decision. He wanted to go a different route. He'll probably end up putting it back in. I think he put almost 10,000 back in on Friday. So, but looking at that, if you're going to pull out your cash and sit it somewhere, just look at a good option where to put it so that it's not just sitting making zero money, especially while inflation is so high, making your money worth less. You want to keep your money growing as fast as possible to keep up with your demands as a person and as inflation keeps going up. So if you've liked this video, make sure you like and subscribe down below. It doesn't cost anything. Smash that like button. And catch us back here. I usually try to post once a week, if not a couple times a week if I can. This is Building a Million, one day at a time. We'll catch you next time.